Yo, what's up? It's me, Justin, and we are kicking off this 2-week series called Trending, where we're talking about topics that are, they're trending, things that we need to be aware of, things that are popping up in our community, in our everyday lives. And what I want to start off talking about is the idea of words. I remember when my wife and I first got married, one of the phrases that I would say over and over and over again, and it kind of annoyed her, was words matter. And the truth is, words do matter. What you say matters, and what you say about others matters. What you say about yourself matters. What other people say about you matters. And part of us, we find our identity built around the words that other people speak about us, as well as the words that we speak about ourselves. So we have a choice to use words in a way that builds up or tears down. We have the ability to use words to call out the good in someone and to call out the bad. We have an opportunity to use words to express the beauty of the image of God that lives in someone, or the fallenness of the world around us. It's our choice. I remember when I was in middle school, I had this moment where I discovered the power of words. I was riding the activity bus home, which was the bus that you would take if you had some type of an activity after school. Now, the activity bus was unlike the normal school bus. The normal school bus is all middle schoolers, but on the activity bus, it was middle schoolers and high schoolers. And so here we are, we're riding back, we're going home, and on the first stop, about 5 minutes into the drive home from school, there's a high schooler behind me, and he says something. I don't really remember what he said, but it was directed at me, and so I said, "Hush up. Hush up." And this dude begins to light me up. I mean, he starts saying things that just hurt. And while I don't remember some of the things that he said, I actually don't remember any of the words that he said. I remember the way that his words made me feel as I got off the bus just 5 minutes later. It was like, man, I never want to take the activity bus home again, because if I do, well, I got to see that guy. See, here's what I'm wondering. Are you using your words to bring freedom to others, or are you using your words to lock them up, chain them down, and keep them where they were never supposed to be in the first place? It's an interesting question, because words are tricky. And oftentimes what we set back is we either say that words are black and white or that words are gray. Right? And what I mean by that is either they're good or bad, or they're just kind of somewhere in the middle. A lot of times that we can say, well, this word is good or it's bad, but somebody else can think that it's, middle of the way. It's not a bad word, it's not a good word, it's just a word. But we can also be on the other side, that where we're saying, hey, this word doesn't really matter too much, but someone else hears it and they go, oh my goodness, that word is so good, or that word is so bad. It's just a mixture of the two, and sometimes we can think the words that we're saying are okay, but the people that are hearing those words, they don't. Or the words that someone else says, we can hear as not okay, but they're like, what's the big deal? It's just a word. And there are a lot of reasons that we use the words that we choose to use. I just compiled a list of some of just the initial thoughts I had. We use certain words because we hear our families use them, and so we just put it on repeat. We use certain words to fit in or to be included in groups of people that we aspire to be a part of. We use words to make people laugh. We use words because we hear them but don't actually know what they mean. Oh man, I remember this one time I had a friend who he used a word, and it was definitely not the way that you're supposed to use it, and he wondered, like, why is everyone laughing the way they are? So he kept using it and using it and using it, but the problem was he was using the word incorrectly, and everybody was laughing at him and not with him, and it was a mess. But sometimes we do that, right? We use a word that we don't really know what it means, but we go with it because, well, we get a reaction. Or sometimes we use words because we've heard others say them, and it sounds like something we should say. Like, it makes us seem smarter, seem more connected, seem more even Christian. You see, it's not necessarily the words that we use, but rather it's the power that those words have. So here's this key thought that I want you to think about. And knowing our words have power means that we recognize the impact they can have on others and ourselves. I mean, pause for just a second. Like, think about the words you use and the power that they have, because they do have an impact, whether you want them to or not. Second thing I want you to focus on as we dive into what the Bible says about the words that we use is this. Our words have the potential to hurt or to offend others, but our words also have the potential to help. And here's the thing that I want to lean in there. It's not just help others, but it's also help others make opinions about us. Ooh. Let that sink in for a minute. The words that you use help others, and sometimes it just helps others create an image of who they think you are. Now, the brother of Jesus, a guy named James, and he wrote a book of the Bible in the New Testament. It's called the Book of James. And I think that James has some insight for us on how we can choose to use our words. And here's what he says. It says, when we put bits into the mouth of horses to make them obey us, we can turn the whole animal. Or take a ship as an example. Although they are so large and are driven by strong winds, they are steered by a very small rudder wherever the pilot wants to go. You see, the idea here is that one small piece can actually change the direction that a horse or a boat goes. But that applies to our words as well, because James goes on to say this. Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. Ooh, our words are like a small spark. The tongue is also a fire. That made no sense. Let me try that again. The tongue also is a fire. Much better. A world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body, sets the whole course for one's life on fire, and sets itself on fire by hell. Now, what James is saying here is some pretty intense language, and what we want to do is just to look at a little bit of what James is saying. You see, what James is saying is a tongue can be a small thing. It's a small part of your body, but it can cause a massive destruction with just a simple word. If we're not careful, our words can actually destroy relationships. It can destroy reputations. It can destroy families. It can even have the potential to destroy our future. And so when we learn to pay careful attention to the way that we speak, we learn to harness the power of our words. I want you just to think about that for a minute. Your words have power, and you have the ability to learn to control that power. In fact, in Psalm 141, verse 3, says this, "Set a guard over my mouth, Lord. Keep watch over the door of my lips." Like we can actually learn through the power of Jesus to control our mouths so that we don't cause destruction. Now, I want to give you 4 quick steps on how we can learn to pay attention to the words that we speak. First one is simply this: think about your words. Like what you just spoke, think about, what did you just say? Second thing is, ask yourself, do my words cause destruction and hurt? So think about, what did I say? Could what I said cause destruction? Could what I said cause hurt? Third thing, ask God to help guard the words that you use more wisely in the future, and for forgiveness for what you've already spoken, because our words have power. When we say things, sometimes we're left going, oh man, I shouldn't have said that, I shouldn't have said that. And we just let it boil and fester inside of us. And next thing you know, we're beating ourselves up for what we said or what we should have said. But we can actually say, hey, listen, God, I need forgiveness for what I said, and then wisdom for what I'm going to say. And step 4, intentionally make a change. Think before you speak. So those 4 steps again: think about the words you used. Ask yourself, do those words cause destruction or hurt? Turn to God and ask God for help with wisdom for the future and forgiveness for the past, and then make a change. The words that you choose to use going forward. You see, when we can pay attention to our words, we can actually control the power that they have. That's one of the reasons why we're in life groups. Life groups are a space where we can actually invite other people to help us see the destruction of the words that we use, and then find encouragement in how we can use them more carefully. So what I want you to do as we go forward is simply this. Ask yourself this question: in what ways can I choose to use my words for good? It's a big question. What ways can I choose to use my words for good? And once you can figure that piece out, then take action and do that. And if you don't know, if you're sitting back saying, I don't know how I can use my words for good, I don't know how I can use my words to benefit others, I don't know how I can use my words to be intentional in building up and not tearing down, well, ask God. God will give you clarity if you ask Him. God will give you wisdom if you ask Him. But remember, God doesn't always speak the way that we want Him to. And so we have to listen. And the only way to listen is to stop and not speak. Hey, listen, I love you guys. I am so grateful to do life with you. I can't wait until you and I are back in a room together, whenever that might be. But until next time, peace.